Hey, what's going on? I'm Dr. Chris, and today I want to show off my beautiful DIY cold plunge. Now, I'm making this video for anybody who's thinking about either buying a cold plunge or making their own, and some of the steps are involved and how much effort and money, etc. is going to cost. This is not a DIY video or a how-to video. There's tons of those. For that, I would definitely check out DIY Cold Plunge, the YouTube channel. Joe, he's done a great job. He's built tons of these. He's got plans you can buy, which I definitely recommend, by the way, because I spent way too much money making mistakes, and then I just opted to buy the plans and things went smooth after that, and it's not expensive. Just do that, it's so much better. So he's got tons of videos that follow along with his plans. He's a great channel. And he's also got a website where you can buy the components that are hard to find at a traditional hardware store. So my journey into leading to this started about 3 years ago. That's when I first started cold plunging. I started off with the inflatable stuff you can buy, the $60 tub you can buy on Amazon, and go in the store, buying about 96 pounds of ice, which would cost about $26, which became expensive really quick because I was doing it daily. And it's hard to justify I spent $26 for 2 to 3 minutes of plunging, especially when you're doing it by yourself. So I graduated to a Rubbermaid stock tank, which is in here now, because those inflatables don't last very long out in the elements, especially in Florida. So this is way sturdier. I was still buying ice, and it was getting expensive again. So then I went out and bought a freezer, and then I did the frozen water bottle thing for a while. But I don't know, something just doesn't feel right about sitting in a tub with a whole bunch of plastic bottles around you. So then I graduated to doing this, buying these Sterilite containers and freezing these giant ice cubes. All right, I'll go ahead and stick that in there now. And these things are kind of chintzy and they crack a lot, so I was constantly buying new ones. It would take about 10 to 12 of those large ice cubes to get the temperature, so that got to be a pain in the butt after a while, and that's why I said, okay, it's either time to make my own or buy one. Now, I started looking, even during the Labor Day sale, I almost bought a cold plunge, but besides the cost, a couple of things steered me away from it. A, I want to be able to customize it. B, I wanted the pride to say I built this, and I like to build things anyways. And C is I wanted to be able to fix it. If something goes wrong here, or with a plunge that you just bought, maybe you don't know how the plumbing works and you don't know how to fix it. If you build it on your own, you're gonna know every single component of this thing. So I decided to do this. This took me about 3 weeks time. You know, I was putting in an hour here, hour there, a little bit of weekend time. Now that I've done this, if I had to redo it, I could probably, if I had the time, knock it out in a weekend by myself. So it's not that hard to do. The cost was probably about $1,500. I bet you I could have done this for about $1,200, maybe a little more than that, if I hadn't made so many mistakes in the beginning. So go ahead and just buy the blueprints from Joe. It's way better. So let me just talk about some of the steps and what you'd be getting yourself into. So the first thing is picking your stock tank. So these Rubbermaid ones, I bought this at Tractor Supply or Rural King, one or the other. It was $125. It's a 100-gallon stock tank. They do have 150-gallon stock tanks as well, a little bigger. So someone who's going to be, I'd only really do that if you're a really large person or you're going to do multiple people in here at once. But some things to think about, you're going to naturally take up a lot more space in your house if you have a larger one. And a 150-gallon stock tank is going to take a little longer to come to temperature. So I think if you fit one of these, great. I think this is a better bet. So $125 is the cost now. I think you can get them on Amazon, $2 or $225, I believe. So step one, pick that. Step two is you're gonna have to prep the tub. So you're gonna have to drill a couple holes in it with a hole saw. All right. So I have, the way this works, there's a hole in the bottom, that's the outlet, so water comes out, circles through here through the chiller, then gets cleaned through the ozonator and the filter, and come back into a hole that's up here at the top. So, and then the other thing you have to do to prep the tub is there's sort of these linear pieces of plastic on the sides here that you're gonna have to cut off with just a handsaw so it can sink into this frame. That's really easy, it takes about 10 minutes. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is build a frame. That I used Joe's plans for, it worked out great. You're gonna need a chop saw, a Craig set, power drill, and some screws. All right, after you build the frame, then you're gonna wanna insulate it. So this is what I used. This is a foam core board. It's water resistant, mold resistant, so really important, especially if you're gonna keep it outside and you live somewhere like I do, like Florida, where it's warm and moldy. You can go a step further, which I haven't done yet, and spray foam it. That's gonna make it even better insulated and keep the temperature better. As it is now, I can get this to 45 degrees on its own. So sometimes I'll throw a giant ice cube in to bring it down a couple more degrees. It works out great. So once you've built the frame, you've picked your tank, you've built the frame, you've insulated, now it's time for the plumbing. So in here, I'll show you guys a video of it in a bit. We've got the chiller itself, all the plumbing, a filter, and an ozonator. So the filter and ozonator I bought directly off of Joe's website. The chiller is basically, if you've seen the Nuvio chiller, it's a 3rd horsepower. I think it costs somewhere around $900. It's the same thing, except for it's not a brand. It was $270 on Amazon. I'll make sure to drop a link in the notes. So don't go waste your money just for a logo. All right, so get the chiller, ozonator, filter, a couple $100 for that, right? So then the plumbing can be a little tricky if you've never plumbed anything before. I made a ton of mistakes, even with his blueprint. There's that PVC glue sets fast and it's firm, so once it's glued, that's it. So you want to really be careful and take your time with the plumbing. For example, there's these joint couplers. Make sure you unscrew those first before gluing the whole thing together, because I made the mistake of putting the PVC on both sides of the couple and gluing the whole thing, and then the glue seeped into the actual mechanics of it, and I couldn't untwist it. So I had to redo the whole thing. So don't do that. And then sort of the last step is paneling it. You can panel it however you want. I just did, 1-inch wood, and then making a cover. Joe's got great plans on that as well. So if you want to take a look at this, here's what the plumbing looks like. So there's the chiller. There's the filter, which looks like it needs to be changed. And on top of that gray thing, that's what's called Venturi injector, which is the ozonator. So down there is the pump. I forgot to mention the pump. That cost me about $120. It's a Danner pump, right? So the water comes into the pump, up through there, into the chiller, back down here, where it goes through that pipe there, and half that water goes to the ozonator, and half comes through the filter, goes through that tube there, and all the way back to here where it comes out. Now a couple of little add-ons. I don't know if you can see down there, that's the outlet. There's a strainer on there. There's only a couple bucks on Amazon. I highly recommend that. I catch all kinds of debris in there, especially hair and lint, so you don't want that going into your pump. The other thing there, which is kind of cool, is a light. There's a little spa light. So I have a button here. Yeah, just a little add-on. It's an option, and it looks really nice at night. So hopefully this video was helpful. Please leave any questions or comments below.